Hello everyone, myself Sowmya, Assistant Professor in CSE AIML Department, MLR Institute of Technology. In this video, we are going to discuss about digital signature and public key cryptography. So coming to the overview of this presentation covers what is digital signature and what is public key cryptography and why we need this digital signature, and we also see some examples. So first of all, what is digital signature? So we know what is signature and what is the essence of signature. For example, if some person A is sending some document to B, then how B will trust that the document is coming from A? Then what A will do after completing the document, he will sign on the document and that document will be sent to the B. Then so that B can trust that this document he is getting from the person A. Just because of seeing that signature, he is able to identify he is a genuine person. So in the same way, for digital documents also, we are providing some validation or authentication using this digital signature. So we have a formal definition for this digital signature. So a digital signature is a cryptographic technique. It is used to ensure authenticity, integrity and non-repudiation of the digital messages or documents. So if you want to send some digital message or document through the network or over the network, then you need to ensure that you should able to achieve the authenticity, integrity, non-reputation of that message. But what about this authenticity? What do you mean by authenticity, and what is integrity and what is non-repudiation? That we will see. So actually this digital signature is nothing but it's the electronic equivalent of a handwritten signature. So sometimes we will scan a signature to upload in some documents, right? So it is simply equivalent to that, but we are generating this digital signature in different ways to provide more security. So we'll see how to generate this. But before that, it is providing some features, right? So what are the features? Authenticity, integrity and non-reputation. So what is authenticity? So authenticity is nothing but assurance that the identity of a sender or the origin of data is genuine, not falsified. As we discussed here, so how we will trust it is coming from A just because of that signature? That is nothing but authenticity. So he knows he is getting that document from A, not from C. Why? Because on that document he has that signature, A signature. So that's why he able to understand that this document is genuinely we are getting from the person A, not from the C. So it will authenticity is nothing but it will provide the identity of the sender. And coming to the integrity, while sending this message, it should not be tampered with. So in the middle, the hackers or the intruders may modify this message. But if we use this digital signature, they can't modify the message, right? So integrity is nothing but the data has not been altered or tampered with during the transmission or storage. So during the transmission of this message, so whether the data has tampered or not. So that is not possible if I attach the digital signature along with the document. And the next thing is non-repudiation. So non-repudiation is nothing but it prevents the sender of a message or document from later denying their own involvement or the validity of the communication. So after sending the information, the sender has to involve in the communication. At the same time, the recipient also needs to involve in the communication. So this process is called as non-repudiation. So what is non-repudiation? Other definition, it ensures that the sender cannot deny sending the messages and the recipient cannot deny the receiving the messages. So this approach is called as non-repudiation. So all these three features will be provided by the digital signature. So digital signature is nothing but electronic signature for some electronic documents. So how to generate this digital signature and why we need this digital signature? So that we will see now. So what is public key cryptography and why we need this digital signature? So public key cryptography, it is also called as asymmetric cryptography, so which uses two keys for transmitting the messages. So what are the two keys here? One is public key and the other one is private key. So the cryptography which uses the cryptographic technique which uses two keys is called as asymmetric cryptography, or it is also called as public key cryptography. It uses two keys here, one is public key and the other one is private key. So generally to send the information, it uses public key. So public key is used to encrypt the message. So encrypt in the sense the plain text will be converted into ciphertext. Now this ciphertext will be transferred to the receiver. Then to decrypt this message, to get the original message, the receiver will decrypt this message using the private key. So in this way, the public key and private key will be used in the public key cryptography algorithm. So the private key is nothing but it should be maintained confidentially, and public key may be distributed to everyone. So we can relate here, public key is nothing but it's like our bank account number. So if I want to get some money from other person, I should share my bank account number. So if X person wants to send money 100 rupees to Y person, then what Y should do? Y should share his bank account number. So in this case, the bank account number is nothing but the public key. So initially, Y should share his public key to X. Then what X can do? X can transfer 100 rupees using this public key. But now, if X wants to send the amount from his account, then what he needs here? He needs to have his private key. So private key is nothing but it's like a bank password. So I want to send some money to some other person. Then what I need to do? I need to log in into my account. How I can log in? Using my username and password. Then I need to know the password to transfer the money from my account. But if I want to receive the amount, someone has to know only my account number, not my password. So here public key is nothing but it's like a account number, whereas private key is nothing but it's like a PIN or the password of the bank. So if I want to receive the money, the public key is enough. Sharing the public key is enough. But if I want to transfer the money, then I need to know my password, that is private key also. So the public key we are sharing across, right? So here we need to maintain the security in the blockchain, but still we are sharing the public key in the public key cryptography. Then how can we guarantee that authenticity of our data, ensure that it will not be tampered within the transit? So if we are sharing our key, then how can you guarantee that it is not tampered in the transmission, or it not how I can trust the person, whether it is a proper person or the current authenticated person is sending or not? How can I know that? If I am sharing, if I am giving the public key to everyone, then the answer is here digital signature. So using this digital signature, you can provide more security here. Even though you are revealing the public key to everyone, if you are using digital signature, you can secure your documents. So a digital signature provides validation and authentication in the same way signatures do, but in the digital form. So as we discussed earlier, so if A person is sending some document to B, then B will expect some signature of A. For example, if I am getting a circular from the management or the principal, I'll expect some signature, the principal signatures on the document. If the principal signature is not there, I cannot trust that. So that may be generated by some other students, right? Some other person. I cannot trust that. So when I can trust that document, if the principal signature is there on that. So in the same way, if A signature is there on the document, then only the B can trust that. So I am getting this document from a valid person or authenticated person, right? So digital signature also will do the same here. So here we know, like, we are maintaining two keys. One is public key and the other one is private key. Here we have two persons. One is Joe and the other one is Anne. So now Joe wants to transfer some 0.5 BTC, 0.5 Bitcoins to Anne. Then what Joe should know here? So Joe should know the public key of the Anne. So this is like a sending or transferring some amount from person A to person B. So if person A wants to transfer some person B, what person B should do? He should share his public key to the person A. The same thing is happening here. So Joe has his own private key and his own public key. The same way, Anne is also having her own private key and her own public key. So initially, the Anne shares her public key with the Joe. So why? Anne wants to receive some amount from the Joe. At the same time, the Joe wants to send some amount to Anne. So that's why Anne shares her public key to the Joe. So now what Joe is doing? Joe sends a request to transfer 0.5 BTC from his wallet to Anne along with the Anne's public key. So now I want to send some 50 rupees from person A to person B. Then what A should do? A should send the account number of person B, account number plus the amount also, how much I am sending. The same thing the Joe also doing. What he is doing, he is sending a request along with the information. What is the information? How much he wants to transfer? 50 rupees. And to whom he wants to transfer? That is nothing but the Anne's public key. That is the account number. So public key and the amount. Along with this, he is sending a request. And this request, see, both these things, combining these two things, it will encrypt. Encrypt in the sense you are providing the security. So the information, how much amount you want to send and to whom you want to send. By combining these information, I am performing the encryption so that I'll get the ciphertext. So this ciphertext you are giving to the blockchain network. The blockchain network will do the validation whether the transaction is valid or not. If the transaction is valid, then only that transaction will be added to the block. So this request is sending to the blockchain network. So blockchain network will validate the transaction. How it will validate the transaction? In the previous videos we have seen. First, it needs to check whether the Joe person is having the enough money or not, right? And whether he is a valid person or not. All these things it needs to verify. After that, only the transaction will be added to the blockchain. So here the transaction is verified and Anne receives the encrypted message. So whatever the encrypted message is there, Anne will be received. So now it is in the form of encrypted, right? So the Anne directly, she cannot read that message. Then what she needs to do? She needs to decrypt that message. How she can decrypt the message? Using her own private key. So using her own private key, Anne receives the 0.5 BTC into her wallet. So by using the password, if she opens her account, then she got that money, right? So that private key, that password is nothing but private key. So using her private key, she can open her account and she can see the money, right? So whatever the information is there, right? So this information is actually ciphertext. For this ciphertext, she is also using the private key. If she combines these two, if she decrypt that, she will get the original message, that is 0.5 BTC. So in this way, the public key and private key will be used in the transferring the funds. Then what about the digital signature? That we will see now. So the digital signature algorithm generally comprises of three parts. So the first part is generation of the private and public key. The second is signing algorithm and the third one is verification. So the first one is generation of the private and public key. So just now we have seen that, right? So every account or every person will be having two keys here. One is private key and the other one is public key. So private key will be generated by the person itself and the public key. So among the mutual understanding, both the person mutually they will understand and they will keep one key as a public key, right? So these two keys are used to encrypt and decrypt in the public key infrastructure. So we are using public key infrastructure or public key encryption algorithm. In that, the public key and private key will be used to perform the encryption as well as decryption. Just now we have seen that example. And next is signing algorithm. So what is the signing algorithm? So a digital signature produced through public key cryptography safeguards the integrity of the data that is sent. So this is done by combining the private key with the data that they wish to certify through a mathematical algorithm, thus creating a digital signature. So signing algorithm will create a digital signature. That digital signature you are attaching with the original message. So if A person wants to send some message to B, so A will send that message. Along with that, he will also send the digital signature. So by seeing this digital signature, B will understand, okay, this message I am getting from a genuine person A. Why? Because he is also attaching the digital signature. So then how this digital signature will be generated? So this will be generated by combining the private key with the data. So we have seen the private key plus the data, combining it will, by applying some mathematical algorithm, they will generate the digital signature. That we will see now. Right. So here Joe and Anne, so they share their public key each other, right? So public key they are sharing with each other. Why? Because it's a common thing, right? Next, so Joe generates a hash of the transaction and using his private key encrypts the hash, thus creating his digital signature. So how the digital signature is generating? He has some transaction data, he has some information. So this information, for this information, he is applying some hash algorithm. We know SHA-256 or SHA-512 you are using, right? So using the SHA algorithm, secure hashing algorithm, he is generating the hash code for his transaction data. And for this hash code, using private key, he is performing the encryption. After encryption, he is getting the digital signature. So we have some message, hello message, I am applying the hash algorithm. Then I will get the hash code. And for this hash code, I am using the private key, and for these two, I am encrypting so that I am getting the digital signature, right? So in this way, the Joe will create his digital signature. So that digital signature he is attaching with the message. So he has own transaction data, right? For this transaction data, this digital signature he is adding. Along with that, see, Joe encrypts the digitally signed transaction file with Anne's public key and sends it to the Anne via the blockchain network, right? So he has his message now. So message, along with the message, he has his own digital signature also. So for this digital signature, to whom he needs to send? He needs to send to Anne. So for that purpose, what he needs Anne's public key. So this is Anne's public key. So by combining these two, he will encrypt the data and he will generate the ciphertext. This generated ciphertext will be transferred to Anne through the blockchain network. So what this blockchain network will do? It will verify whether the transaction is a valid transaction or not, right? After verifying, if it is a valid transaction, that transaction data will be sent to the Anne. So what Anne is receiving here? She is receiving a ciphertext. What is that ciphertext? How it is generating? The ciphertext is generated using the public key of Anne and the transaction data plus digital signature. For all these, if I apply encryption, then the ciphertext will be generated. Then how Anne will decrypt the ciphertext? That is the next step. So Anne receives the encrypted transaction file. Yes, she got the ciphertext value. Now she decrypts the file using her private key to access the Joe's digitally signed document, right? So using her private key, this is her private key. Using that private key, if she decrypt, what she will get? She will get the transaction data as well as the digital signature of the person Joe, right? So how she is decrypting the data? By using her private key. So in this example, Joe shares his public key with the Anne. Then the Joe creates a digital signature. How he is creating digital signature? By generating the hash of the message. For the message, he is generating the hash, and then for the public, encrypting the hash using the private key, right? So this again he is encrypting, right? Using this public key, he is sending to the Anne, right? So first generating the hash message, right? So for the message, he is generating the hash code, and this code, hash code, again he is encrypting using his private key. So these are the two steps which we did in the previous slide, right? So now the verification algorithm, how Anne will verify whether this message is coming from Joe or not. So she decrypted, right? In the previous slide we have seen she decrypted and she got the transaction data followed by the digital signature also. So she needs to verify that digitally signed document is coming from the trusted person or the authenticated person Joe or not. How she will verify? See, the receiver can verify the authenticity and the integrity of the message received and wants to be assured that the message is from Joe and has not been tampered within the transit. So this is also done by using the 3-step process. So what is that 3-step? So first what Anne will do? Anne decrypts the digital signature using Joe's public key to get the hash. See, we have digital signature, right? So this digital signature, she is decrypting, right? How she is decrypting? Using the public key of Joe. Why? Because they already exchanged their public keys. So Anne has given her own public key to Joe and Joe also gave her public key to Anne, right? They have exchanged their keys in the initial only. So using Joe's public key, she decrypted and she will get some hash, right? So if I decrypt that digital signature using the sender's public key, then I'll get some hash. And after that, Anne runs the hash function on the message she received to generate the hash, right? So she got message also along with this digital signature. She also got the message. For this one, she will apply the hash function. Then she will get some hash over there. Then she will compare these two hash values, whether both are same or not. If both are same, then she got the message from a valid person or an authenticated person. If both are not same, then the message is tampered in the middle, or it may not come from the authenticated person. So these are the 3 steps we'll see in the diagram. So what Anne is doing, Anne regenerates the digest by running the hash algorithm. See, she has the message as well as she has the digital signature also. For this message, she will apply the hash algorithm. There she will get the hash code. The same time, she has the digital signature of Joe and she has the Joe's public key, right? So if she applies, then she will get the hash here. So she compares these 2 hashes. If both are same, then it is a authenticated file and she is getting the message from the authenticated person, right? So Anne decrypts the Joe's digital signature using his public key to get the hash. And she compares 2 hashes to confirm that the transaction is from Joe or not. So in this way, the verification process will be done by the receiver. So that is about digital signature and public key encryption. So in this video, we have seen the digital signature, public key encryption, and why we need digital signature also. So if we don't have the concept of digital signature, as we are sharing the public key with everyone, then there is no much security here, right? So the data may be tampered in the middle, right? The data may be sent by the untrusted person if we don't use the digital signature. Thank you.